Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you the Quotes tab. So you have to click on the quotations, then the quotation search table will open up and a little tab here to open a quote or create a new one. So I'm going to start by creating a new quote. You have to put in the customer RFQ number. I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And select the customer that you're creating the quote for. Say basic LLC, quote receive date, and the expiration date. So by default, it's going to be 1 month. You're going to click create quote. Now, in your quote, you're going to have a couple of different tabs. Quoting, which are going to be your part numbers that you're going to add here. General notes, which you have 2 sections, internal notes and external notes. Files that you can upload for your quote, drawings and models and all other related files, and a settings tab and the quote summary tab after you create a couple of quote part numbers and put those in. So in the settings tab, you have your default hourly rate, setup rate, and labor rate, also as charge tax. So in the settings, if you go to your settings, you're able to go to defaults, and in the quote section, you're able to customize your quote. You can say that in every quote you create, your default runtime hourly rate is 120, 180, 180, default tax charge. So if by default you don't charge taxes, then you just put no. If by default you do, you put yes. And then you have your quote terms and conditions and 3 other custom lines that you can put some sort of numbers here. So let's say number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to save by itself automatically. Now when I go back to my quotes, internal RFQ number 1, settings, you can change this for this quote only. So these settings will work only for this quote. You can change your run rate, setup rate, labor rate, charge tax, yes or no. So let's start creating a new quote. So if you click the plus sign, it's going to ask you to enter a part number. So I'm just going to say 1, revision A, material only for your records, aluminum, and quantity. You can say it says use comma to divide multiple quantities. I will be creating a better way of doing this, but for now there's a couple of different tricks to the multiple quantities. So in the quantities, you want to select, let's say if you just have 10 parts, then you're just going to say 10. If you have 10, 20, and 30 to quote, you're going to put 10, 20, 30. Now, in process, you can select milling, turning, or mill turn. Essentially, this will become a drop-down that will be modifiable. You will be able to create your own processes and create templates of how the quotes work. So right now, I'm just going to select mill turn. This will show you more templates. So add part number. Added. Now let's add another part number. Say 123002 revision A, and do just 10 pieces. And say milling. Add part number. Okay. So now I've added 2 different part numbers to one quote. So you can click on that part number, click here, and it's going to open up the quote tab. And it says right here what you're quoting and part number right here. And you're able to modify this by clicking on. So the documentation tab, this is created from a template that's preset. right now there is no way that you can go ahead and change the template or do anything like that, but all of that is coming in the future updates. So let's start with you. I'm sorry, you are able to change the documentation price to 0 if you wanted to. Now let's start with material. So the way I do my quotes is, let's say for material, if I need, when you have multiple quotes, by the way, you have multiple quantities. First, you have to press on a tab if you're modifying it right here, and click Save Changes for it to update to multiple quantities. Now that it's updated to multiple quantities, you can put individual prices for material. So let's say 10 pieces is going to cost 500. 20 pieces is going to cost 750, and 30 pieces of material will cost you 1,000. So now here, all of these work the same way. So you're able to put engineering and programming. You click here. This lets you modify the operation. So you can say that for engineering and programming, there is no runtime, since runtime would be used for operations. So I'm going to put here 0, and then in setup time, I'm going to say that I can use either or. I can use setup or labor. I'm just going to use setup. Let's say it's going to take me now, as you can see, it updated for 10, 20, and 30, and all the prices are the same, as setup time will not change these prices. Now you go to your CNC milling, click here, and CNC mill operation, let's say my first op will take me 10 minutes, my setup will take me 120 minutes. That's right there. So right there, it updated for 10, 20, and 30, based on 10 minutes and 120 minutes. Now let's say there's another op for milling, op 2. You can do the same stuff here, and you can say 15 minutes, 200. And every single tab works the same way. So now the only difference between milling, turning, and mill turn processes is that in mill turn, it actually adds documentation, material, engineering, milling, lathe, and then the rest. Obviously, in milling, it will only add these 2 mill operations, and the lathe, it will only add these 2 lathe operations. Now, you can go ahead and add another operation if it's not here, by clicking on the add operation and specify whether it's in-house or outside. So I'm going to say it's outside, add operation, okay. And now at the end of the screen, I have a new operation here that says none. I click here, and then I have to select my operation name, what it is: CNC mill, lathe, deburr, anodizing, passivation, whatever it might be. So for this, I'm just going to say it's anodizing, and my runtime, setup time, all of that is 0. I'm going to save the changes here. And I'm going to say that for 10 pieces, minimum lot charge is 150. For 20, same thing. 30 pieces, yeah. So now that all of this is updated, I mean, you can put your deburring time, shipping, handling, final inspection and process, or anything else you might think of. You can add the operations, you can add in settings also. So you can go to your settings, defaults, existing operation classes. These are the in-house and outside. These are the types and all of their names. So to add a new one, I'm going to add a operation name, and I'm going to say new And I'm going to click Add Class. So that was added. Now it's in this list as the name. I'm also going to add a operation type. Now, when you go back to your quote, you're able to, then when you click Add Operation, now you have 3 different types. And for anodizing here or any other operation, you're able to switch this if you have to, or you're able to select your new operation as the operation. That's only for your viewing for your records. Now, after I've completed my quote, I have a calculated price based on my time inputs. And my calculated price for 10, 20, and 30 pieces shows up right over here. Now, here is the price that will actually show for the customer. So it says 0, but the calculated is 340. So you have to click on that 0, put 340, click OK, then go into the next one, put 207.50, 163.33. And now the reason for these is that, let's say, you don't want to charge your customer 163.33, you're just going to round it up and say 165 or 208 or 210 maybe. Or maybe sometimes when there's more going on than just time that you're taking into consideration, you want to say that, okay, I want to go a little bit more than this, or maybe a little bit less than what it says. That's the only reason you have these prices over here. Same as right here, you're able to modify your actual price per piece right here. Now, if in the middle of the quote you decide that, okay, I want to go back and I want to change my hourly rate to 90, my setup rate to 120, and then you're going to save your changes, you have to manually update all of your operations. So you have to go back to your part number and you have to click on the operation that you're trying to update and click Save Changes, and that will go ahead and update it for you. Well, I will be changing this and making it much easier so that you can go ahead and change your hourly rates as many times as you want, and this would update automatically. Same goes for the engineering and programming. Since we did change our setup time, you want to go ahead and click on it and save changes again. Now everything's updated and all of your prices are updated with it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next one. And as I demonstrated, this would work the same exact way. Here I'm just going to put a price. I'm going to say 150 without quoting it. Go back to quote. Also another thing is where, okay, maybe you already know this part or something like that, and you don't want to spend time and putting in all the time. You just want to simply give your customer a quote. So you're just going to say, you can put the price in without filling out any of this. Now, when you go to your quote summary, you will have all of your information for each part number over here. And then you can click on print, and you have your print. Print template right here. So the notes section. Oh, actually, let me show you this. So general notes, external. Let's see. Quote summary, print. This is where your notes will show up. And then you have your 3 custom lines if you wanted them or not. If you don't want them, they're just not going to be here. It's going to have your terms and conditions right here. And then it's going to have the taxes, quantities, and everything else, and the pricing. So if you, okay, let me show you this. Another thing. If you go and let's say you add another part number, let's add another part number. free quantity, but not put a price there. Just leave it at 0. If you leave it at 0, it will say no quote. See it right here. It says no quote, 0 taxes, because our tax rate is not put in. Well, in these settings, the charge tax is no. If you change to yes, click OK, go back to your quote. It will actually give you the sales tax at the percentage that you put in. So for this would be $21.59 per unit. Then it's going to tell you that your total tax is this much and your total price with tax is that much. So that's pretty much all for now within the quotes. I will be adding the ability for to create jobs from quotes. So you'll be able to create a job from each part number that you've already inputted here. And you will also be able to put files and drawings and models individually by part number. Because right now you can only upload your files as general for the entire quote. Also, another thing that will help be happening with the quotes is that you're going to be able to to create your own templates. I think I already mentioned that. But other than that, this is the way they work currently. Thank you.